guys, I am Rich, with the creator, I guess, if you will, the of Lights Camera Pop. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. Tongue's a little bigger than the mouth sometimes, and brain moves
That's
faster
what
than the
she
mouth as
said.
well. But yeah, just one of the dynamic duo of Lights Camera Pop.
Yeah, Rich is the wizard behind the scenes. I'm Mike. I just talk. I have no real discernible talent other than that.
See, I
So
disagree. I disagree because while yeah, the name Lights Camera Pop, I've kind of had that in mind, but you are just as much as a co-creator of the show as what I am, because it wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for your element as well. So I
thank you.
don't no thank you because I tried to do this by myself and it's not fun. Uh,
So okay.
Well,
Where are we
if
going
I
with this?
could,
Because these guys have been talking back and forth, and then I just been ignoring it. So what do we want to do today?
if I could interject, I want to say you guys are the key for me to having a podcast because without you two, there would be no, first off, Gen X Marks the Spot podcast, and now the Youth Gone Mild podcast. But when I guest on your show, I forget when that was, maybe August, September. I'm not sure when Ozzy died, but you asked if I wanted to be on your show
mhm.
because of my knowledge of rock and metal. I jumped at the chance because I don't know if anybody knows this, and they probably don't, but the three of us go way back.
Way back.
Mike and I go back even further to
Right.
middle school and high school, but Rich and Mike and I go back to our Power 92 radio days at Cal U, the Harvard on the Mon, and those radio
WBCS
days.
Power 92.
Right.
Good old days.
Absolutely, man. What I wouldn't give to go back to just one of those days. And man, if we know
Uh,
now what we should have known then, man, I wonder where we would be now.
well, I'd have a whole bunch of stock in Google.
And Amazon.
I just have a whole bunch of stock in Google. Yeah, and Amazon. You know, that's all.
Right.
That's me. I've thought about this way too much. Insomnia is a bitch.
Yeah. But and I really appreciate you bringing that up. It's very rare because I don't think Mike and we never kind of look at ourselves as pioneers or innovators or anybody who reaches out to anybody. No, I don't think that, because a lot of the times I feel like what we do is more or less what you see at 6 o'clock in the morning McDonald's run, and you see a bunch of old timers just sitting there talking about the good old days on how good they had it under Nixon. And I just
Yeah.
I can't, that's kind of where I feel like we're at, where it's just we just kind of talk about things that we enjoy, and this is our McDonald's. This is our sitting around and bullshitting.
Our podcast literally is the verbal version of, hey, grab a handful of spaghetti and throw it at the wall and see what sticks. That's our philosophy for our podcast.
Agreed.
Well, hey
But
guys,
again,
you
Joe,
know what?
thank you for the compliment, because like Rich said, we do not look at ourselves nearly like that. We just look at ourselves as just two dudes that just like to talk about weird stuff.
Well, why don't you let the audience know what exactly it is that Lights Camera Pop does talk about, because you guys are making it out that it's loosey goosey, and it's really not. Because I love listening to your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate it. Go ahead, Mike.
In a nutshell, how I describe it, whenever I try to pitch it for somebody to be on the show, I just say we do, me and my buddy Rich, we do a show called Lights Camera Pop, and it's just what it sounds like. It's mostly about pop culture, and we talk about everything from film, TV, comics, art, religion, whatever. Not really religion, but anything that's kind of like in the zeitgeist. And we try to do it very conversationally. And then when I do approach people about it, I also say Take for example, like if we're talking to I don't know, say a comic book artist or something like that. I'm like, I don't care what you did with Batman. I don't care what you did with the X-Men. I don't care what you did with whatever comic book. We want to hear what you want to talk about, what makes you passionate. If you want to talk about your mom's favorite pot roast recipe,
And how it
feel
made you
free.
feel growing up.
And then that usually, yeah, and then that usually like breaks the ice. And then you can just hear like whenever we do have guests on, like we don't talk all about like the one aspect of their life. We try to like let them be the helm of the ship, and we just kind of like nudge
Steer it a
where
little bit.
we want the story to go.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how we do it.
And it started
And
off where no, go ahead.
you guys got a range of topics too. I mean, comic books, like you mentioned, movies, TV shows, just pot roast, good old potluck dinners. It could be anything.
Yeah, because our whole thing is like pop culture is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Now, we do make a conscious effort to stay away from politics. The only time we talk about politics is if it's something very important. And we will not give any like where I stand or where Rich stands or anything like that. We'll give a little bit of the facts and then we just move on because let's face it, politics and religion is a third rail. And we don't want to alienate anybody. We don't want to anger anybody. We want our show to be fun and lighthearted, but we still feel that if it's in the air, we should probably just at least brush it, if that makes sense.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
And we just kind of
I'm
we do. We
sorry.
kind of dance around it and everything. But when Lights Camera Pop first started, we look at it to where too we're not interviewing you. We don't want to give you like we don't want to be like Letterman or Fallon or Leno or whatever. We want to like kind of just have a conversation with you, sit down, couple of guys, like, and sure, we're gonna ask you and talk to you about your career for the most part,
Right.
but at the same time, we're not gonna like dwell on it because we know that they've been asked or talked about, like if, for example, we had Stan Lee. Like I know that's a little hard to do right now, but just for example, if we had Stan Lee on the show, we're not going to ask him,
Let him
oh,
get the Ouija board.
yeah, like we're not going to ask him about how he came up with Spider-Man or how he came up with Fantastic Four, because those are questions that they've always been asked, and they've probably been downtrodden with so many of these questions that it feels very just fake for us to really talk like that to them. And we're
And
really
then you're just going to be getting the same answer from them over and over and over again. Something that you can hear on every other podcast or every other interview on YouTube or whatever.
Mhm,
So we try to avoid that. We try to, stay away from that. And we try to give the reins, like we said, to our guests.
exactly.
And speaking of the same old answers and the same old questions, and I can totally relate because, and this is kind of going to bring us into our topic today of what guests did we, and we're not going to name names, of course, but what guest or how did certain interviews go? You went in with a plan and it turned out nothing like what you envisioned, whether it was a great interview or two, man, I thought this was going to be a great interview and it absolutely sucked, you know, because there are times when I will go into an interview, and of course, like you guys said, I have my questions that I want to ask, band members and artists and such like that. But I kind of let them usually just take the reins and run with it. And then, just like any good podcaster, like you guys as well would do, you just follow it up on the cuff.
Mhm.
So there are times when that absolutely doesn't happen. You just got to lead them to the water and to the trough. And oh, it's just agonizing.
And it's like the old saying that our parents told us, and then we pass on to our kids, is you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. And
Ugh.
Right.
sometimes it can be very painstaking. And you know what? And truthfully, um, I think with Mike and I, like I don't think we've really had any like crazy guests. Like I don't think anything really
No.
crazy or bad has happened or anything like that. I mean, we've had some great guests. I think probably one of the worst moments, though, was a few episodes ago that we had, and everything was just a train wreck from the beginning to at least the middle, because there were like technical issues with sound, and then the video wasn't too much of an issue, but like from the sound to the mic cutting out to the recording stopped, and everything was just a nightmare. But once we got the ball rolling, once we got it back on track, everything was good. But we for the most part, we've had some really good guests, and I could be very thankful for that. However, I mean, in the past, so I had done a horror show before Lights Camera Pop, and there's a band. So like, I'm not like, we've had one person on our show that was from the music world, and he was a super cool guest. He had a record label and everything. Super cool.
He's
guest.
starting a podcast because of us.
We'll have to talk about that. Oh, I love that. Listen, we really are pioneers.
We're like the Johnny Appleseed of freaking podcasts.
So, I think at the time I was just more or less like excited just to have these guys on the show, and they were a horror band, so they fit the criteria of at least the show. They were on a record label that I supported and kind of worked for on the street team. So, and I've had all of these built up, I don't even say pressure, but I had all this built up hype that I was so excited because all of my interviews went well before. And then when I talked to them, they were the most boring group I have ever talked to. They were just very short, one-sided. They almost felt like I was inferior, and it like messed me up. And it was just, I never put out that episode. I still have it on my laptop. I never put out that episode.
And Rich, you and I did have this conversation about a certain lead singer of a very popular 80s band that I did interview, and I did put the podcast out, but I also did a little bit of editing because he sounded really condescending, and it just made me feel like, I was inferior as well, and that he was doing me a favor, and maybe he was. Okay, let's just say he was, but still, be professional about it.
Absolutely. Now,
and may I interject one other thing?
Yes.
If we're on the topic now of things that could go wrong for a podcast, and if it sounds like I'm out of breath and you hear dogs barking, I am out walking doing this podcast because I did not have access
Look at you
to my studio.
Look at you multitasking.
That's okay.
Awesome.
I don't have access to mine yet either. I'm doing mine from my bedroom right now.
Hey, that is
Are you
my
clothed,
studio.
Michael? That's what I want to know.
What was that?
Are you clothed?
Am I? What do you think? No.
Not what I think. It's what I'm imagining. But anyway, back to the topic at hand.
I don't know. You got me cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So
anyway,
let me ask you this.
Topic of hand.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, let me ask you this. Because when we talked before, I'm not sure if this ever came up. And maybe it did. But have you ever tried to reach out to a guest and then them just kind of be such kind of like a snarky little twit towards you? Maybe that's such a harsh word to say, but just really snarky and just kind of like full of themselves in a sense that like they're just like too good to do it.
Yes. A popular 80s band member, not the same person I'm talking about, but they had some really big top 10 hits in the 80s and through the early 90s. And, I asked if they would like to be a guest on my show. This is when I was first starting out, of course, with the Gen X Marks the Spot podcast. And they didn't ask about numbers or ratings or followers or anything like that. They were just kind of like, well, why would I want to be on your show? And I would give them an answer, and then they would come back with something real snarky. And I'm just like, you know what? Screw it, man. You kind of just ruined that for me being a fan of yours. But I will tell you, and I think I know where you were going with this, Rich, because this was another topic that came about and we were discussing, or another guest, I should say, that we were talking about and discussing, that it wasn't a rock singer or an artist that I reached out to. It was a Hollywood actor.
Mm.
And this person was one of my childhood idols. And, you know, the timing, I don't know if it was bad or what was going on in their personal life or anything like that, but I made a few phone calls to people that I knew, and I was able to get an email and a personal phone number of this Hollywood legend. And through these contacts, and I had emails to back it up, they said, well, after this person gets back in the country, all you got to do is reach out to them on the phone and set up a date and time. Everything's good to go. Perfect. That's what I did. Well, this turned into such a clusterfuck that the person actually, or I should say, the actor actually texted me or had someone text me from a private number and asked me where I got all the email addresses and all the phone numbers, especially his from. Now, here's my situation. I had assumed everything was set up and ready to go because the people that I contacted were in the know with him.
Yeah.
And to make a very long story short, he wanted me to throw his, I'll say, counterparts under the bus. And I wasn't going to do that. So I took all the heat from it. Now, whether I should have done that or not, I don't know. I thought it was the right decision to make because, you know, everybody makes mistakes, wires get crossed, but I was not going to throw some of his closest, and I'll even go far as saying friends, under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it kind of ruined it for me, especially when he says, hey, fan or not, in a roundabout way, lose this number.
Yeah, that's wild. It's kind of crazy.
You did the right thing. You did the right thing.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, that's almost like it's the equivalent of a journalist not giving up their sources. So
right. Well,
I honestly think you did the right thing.
Well, thank you. That's how I look at it.
That's
I mean, and
I had a kid,
and I actually had another opportunity right after that, just a few months ago, to meet that particular actor at we'll just say, because I don't want to give the location
mm-hmm.
or whatever the event was away because it could be pinpointed. But I had the opportunity to meet this person, and I have met this person in the past, from youth all the way up to adulthood, and never had anything but great things to say about this person. But I chose not to because it still got to me like, I'm this 8-year-old kid watching them on TV and they're still my hero, but yet they committed this act of treason or whatever you want to call it that I cannot forgive them for.
Yeah, it makes it rough.
Well, you don't want to go and also you don't really want to sully the rest of the memories that you have, the good memories that you have with him. If it were me, I would just kind of compartmentalize it and just try to say, okay, this individual had a bad day. You know what I mean? When he was doing this. And let's face it, I mean, sometimes celebrities really do want to kind of cloister themselves when it comes to their personal information, cell phones, home address, etc. Because there are crazy people out there. You know what I mean? And in this person's defense, he doesn't know if you're a fan, a super fan, or some dude that wants to wear skin like a suit?
Well, I mean, not like that, of course. I would want to brush against it maybe a little bit, but you know, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
That's
Well,
No, but
I'm
in
just trying to play
reality,
devil. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. You know what I mean? So, but yeah,
no, I get
and
it.
I and Joe, I believe you did the correct thing. Like you didn't throw his buddies under the bus. Um, and you didn't have to either. You know what I mean? And you still have like your cool memories of when you have met this person, watched him on TV, watched him on this big screen, and those are all still good memories. But you had that one little bad taste. It's just like going out for pizza. You know what I mean? Like 9 out of 10 times you're gonna have a good pizza, but that one day you're gonna get a burnt one. It's gonna suck. You know what I mean? So chalk it up to being a
Oh, I
burnt
got
pizza.
burnt on that one, that's for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's how I look at it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the kind words too, because yeah, and I agree. I did do the right thing and such, but you know, I mean, there's always problems when doing podcasts. I mean, whether it's from the celebrity to the host, or
Oh
to
yeah,
just equipment malfunction, like you said earlier, or just things that are uncontrollable at the moment, and
Hmm.
you have this blank look of what the fuck just happened.
But it's
You know,
right.
you were doing
still
such a great podcast, and then you have to, you know, get back in touch with the guest. And then if they're like, only gave you like 25, I'm sorry, if they only gave you like 30 minutes and you're at that 25th minute mark and shit goes sideways
Mhm.
and you wanted to wrap it up, you got to call them. And that has happened to me a couple of times where I had to do a Zoom interview, but you know, the power went out, believe it or not, at one of the guest homes during a thunderstorm. And there was just no ending to the podcast. I mean, it was just boom, where do you leave off at?
Right.
And
Right.
luckily, the person has got in touch with me about a half hour later and was like, hey, here's my cell phone, you know, and call me tomorrow and we'll finish the podcast. Super cool dude. You
That's
know,
Now
awesome.
that's
knew that,
awesome.
yeah, knew that it needed finished, didn't want to leave me hanging. And I totally have mad respect for this musician. And actually, we stay in touch to this day. And, you know, he'll give me a little bit of an update of when they're coming to town and this or that. And I appreciate that. And just to kind of play off of that, you know, when I was going into doing a podcast, and I know you guys are the same way, you know that if you get a phone number or an email from someone who, you know, is well respected, pretty popular in whatever industry they're in, the one thing you don't want to do is reach out to them when you don't mean to. You don't want to bug them and pretend like you're stalking them. And I think
Exactly right.
that's where the respect comes into play. Only talk to them when you have to, and then it kind of just flows into a friendship or um,
Right.
what's another word I'm looking
A
for? Not
mutual
maybe not
respect.
friendship, mutual
A mu-
respect.
An
Thank you.
yeah.
acquaintance. An acquaintanceship.
Yes,
So and
Yeah,
I
because
all those adjectives.
right now we're because right now we're working on getting a particular actress on, and she is all for it. She wants to do it, but she was going through some personal problems, some family issues, and I'm not going to say too much, but let's just say that some stuff happened. So when things were like really starting to slide down for her, I was just like, listen, um, I'm not going to bother you. I'll give you, you know, like I'll reach back out in a few weeks. I was like, take care of everything. You know what I mean? Blah blah blah. And that person was just like, oh my god, thank you so much. Yes, you know. And unfortunately, things got worse. Um, but I'm still. I reached out to the person one more time just to give some my
right.
thoughts to the situation. And but I'm going to leave them alone for a little bit longer. I probably won't reach out to them for another month or two.
It's probably
Well,
fun.
and
Just to let
that's
the dust,
awesome,
just to let
dude.
the dust in the air, let the dust in the air fall. Let everything settle down. You know what I mean? Let them move on. Let them get through things. And then it might even take a couple months after that
Yep.
to even get them on. So, but I don't really care if they ever come on, but they're still nice to me, and that's all that matters.
Now it's funny you say that about the personal phone numbers. I had a guest on a while ago on the horror show, and he was a performer in a suit, in a particular '80s movie that is very well known and a cult classic.
You, you there?
Yep.
You guys? Oh, okay.
Yep. But I had he sent me his phone number and everything before all said and done. Well, here I had texted him once saying, just to confirm we're still on, and he said, "Yep, we're good." And then we had the interview. Great show. And in a turn of events, a few months later, he was at a convention, and I was like, do I do it? Do I not? So I did. I took the chance, and maybe it was unethical to do so, and it still paid off, and it did not end badly. But I shot him a text and said, "Hey, hope you're doing well. I just want to say I hear that you're seen that you're coming to Pittsburgh, and I think you're gonna love it here, and
Oh, you guys were going in and out.
of course we are." But shot him a text and said, "Hey, I heard that you're coming to Pittsburgh. Just want to let you know you're gonna love it here, and looking forward to meeting you in person." And he sent back. He said, "Hey, man," he said, "Yeah, I'm sure I will. I have no doubt. I've been up in the can't remember where there's like a big drive-in theater, Mahoning or something like that." And he's like,
Mahoning County.
"Yes." And he's like, he's been up there a couple times, and he says, I have no doubt that I'm gonna love it. And he says, just make sure you stop by and get a picture and everything, and hang out with us. And sadly, I did not get to make it, but yeah, it was just cool that it still paid off. I took the chance. Maybe I shouldn't have, but it was like
No.
having
I
that.
think they leak. I think they kind of leave the window open for that. Like when we had our interview with uh Peanuts, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think like if she would ever come to the con that I'm at, I'm gonna introduce myself to her. I'm
Oh,
gonna be like, hey,
100%.
remember me? Yeah.
100% doing that. Um, and that's the same with we had a guest not long like just a week or two ago, and he had sent his personal number, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna. This is one I'm not going to utilize. I mean, he was super cool, and I would love to. I would love to like talk to him more. But yeah, it's just that's something I would rather happen organically and stuff like that. Mike, you would see him more than I would at this point now. Um, but yeah, I think that just having guests like that and being more personable and relatable to you, I think that's really, really important. And
Oh,
Hey, Joe,
go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
what was your favorite guest that you have? Since it's your favorite guest, or you can say the name. Like what was
Well,
what was like one that you had on that you were just like, this was great, this is awesome, I can't believe I had him.
well, I'm not going to give the ass kissing answer that I should give. Um, well, it's true, but I mean, there were a lot of really cool guests that I've had on my show. Believe it or not, I'm not going to say my favorite guest, but I do have several favorites. But I would say the best podcast interview, okay,
mhm.
was recently. Give me 1 second. There's something in my mouth here. Swallowed a bug. Oh,
Yeah,
Protein.
man.
protein.
Yeah, right. I hope you guys edit that part out.
No, we're keeping that one in. At
Um,
least in our show, we
uh,
are.
um, give me. Hold on.
while you're chewing that, I think it seems like with our guests every week we have, it's always like, oh, that went so well, that was our favorite guest. But then the next week
Mhm.
happens, and then we have another guest. It's like, oh, that went so well. She was one of our best guests. And then the next
I
week
know.
happens, and it's just like it kind of just keeps evolving and getting better. And,
Snowballing.
yeah, it keeps getting better and better. Like we have guests coming on next week that I am super excited for, and I won't give anything away just in case that there's a cancellation or anything. But
Next
they're pretty
Sunday.
big. What's that? Next Sunday,
Next
yes.
Sunday.
Yes.
Shit.
Well, well,
No.
my favorite my favorite interview, I should say, because everything went smooth as it could have gone. Production, the interview, the
Mhm.
editing, you name it, it went smoothly. And that was just a few weeks back with Jake Curtis Allard, the guitarist for Pretty Boy Floyd. I even got a lot of feedback from the Pretty Boy Floyd camp saying how well the interview was, the production. They
That's
loved
awesome.
the theme song that I had and such. And that was for the Gen X Marks the Spot podcast. And of course, now I rebranded to the Youth Gone Mild podcast. But I would say that was my favorite interview. I mean, it was just smooth, transitional, and very informative. And like you guys said earlier, it was just a casual conversation that actually led into everything I wanted to ask him without having to ask him.
That's see, it's always a great interview and a great conversation when everything just falls into place. And hearing that,
All right, Rich. What's yours? What's yours? I want to hear what out of the
oh,
ones that we've done together.
uh,
Wait, I know, guys. I already know the answer. It was when I was on there talking about Ozzy.
you know what? That is definitely in our top three.
No, seriously. Out of all the ones that
Sure,
just
it is.
not your horror of it all stuff, just the ones
just
that you and
us,
I have
yes.
done.
Um, oh wow, there were so many. Like Patricia Patz was phenomenal. She's like literally someone that I feel like I could be friends with, like outside of,
On a personal level, yeah.
yes. Um, and as a personal fan, Keith Coogan from Adventures in Babysitting, our very first guest on the show.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was fun. That was really good. I enjoyed that one a lot. But
And that was a long
honestly,
one too,
that
because
was a
he was
long
like
one.
really good.
Yeah. But you know what? And I'm gonna take it back to last week. Like right now, I think my favorite episode was with Mark McKenna.
Funny you say that, because that was mine. Like, I'm not kidding. Like the Mark McKenna episode right now, is I think my favorite episode that we've done. Not because like all our other guests, I'm not saying all our other guests have been great. Like Jay was hysterical when we talked
Oh,
about records and
Jay was awesome.
shows. Patricia's phenomenal. I mean, like she's a national treasure. I don't give a shit what anybody
Mark,
says.
Brandon.
I mean, like all of them have been just awesome. But Mark was just cool, and like the stuff that he talked about, and the little bit of nuance and insight the behind the curtains, if you will, of the comic book industry, and then just all the cool stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
he was just such a nice guy
I
too.
loved hearing about the inspirational drive that he had
Yes,
to break into this industry, and
the fact that he was just like, I'm not giving up. This is what I want to do.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That's awesome, guys.
it was just gold.
And so I am curious, Joe. So with which I'm going to give you some props and congratulations here in a second, but so I want to ask too, is the name change, the rebrand. So originally when Gen X Marks the Spot hit, I remember we talked at Walmart, and
Right.
we talked, and your show was originally going to be one thing, and then it shifted into something completely different. Which, while the original concept was going to be would have been great, I feel that the direction it went is much better, and it
Thank you.
suits you much better, and I feel like the original concept almost would have come off as like a dare I say a grumpy old man kind of like vibe, and it's just like
Yes.
I don't think anybody like not saying that nobody would tune in and be like, oh, he's absolutely right about that one and stuff like that, but I think that it could only go so far in a sense, and it would really kind of be one-sided. But with the direction that it went musically and just the way you present it's legit perfect, and you do an amazing job, and a big congratulations to you on the sponsor, man. Like when
Yeah, congratulations on that.
I saw that, and then I think it may have happened at the same time that Mike saw at the same time, and then he texted me as I'm looking at it on Facebook, and he goes, "Hey, did you see Joe got a sponsor?" So yeah,
He froze. You know, I realize every time I walk past my house, it connects to my Wi-Fi, and you guys freeze.
oh, so what did you hear? You didn't hear us waxing your car, did you?
I heard you watching something I had.
um,
But no, you were saying about the podcast, and you know, and I was going to follow that up. And what I'm going to say with that is, and just so everybody might have an idea of what the Gen X Marks the Spot podcast was going to be like, was a certain time in
Hello?
I think he cut out on us again.
Yeah, I think he cut out.
I think so. Joe, you cut out, buddy. If you can hear us.
start asking for receipts as you walk out, like you're that same thief that walks in
Wait,
there
Joe,
and just steals something.
Joe, I'm gonna
You
pause
know,
you,
and
scratch that, rewind for a second, and start
okay,
over. I know where you were going with it, even though I didn't hear you.
okay,
But you cut out.
okay.
You cut out, and you talked.
So,
We heard about receipt.
so for the listeners who may not know what the Gen X Marks the Spot podcast was originally going to be about, it was going to be about a time, whether it's in the present or, you know, 10 or 20 years ago, when something changed in the landscape of America that, you know, wasn't happening, you know, during our youth of Gen X. Okay. Let's just say, for example, when did what's a good example without me not getting in trouble? Okay. When did service animals? Let's just not. When did um, what's the other word I'm trying to think of? Rich, here, help me out.
Um,
Not
emotional
service animals.
emotional support.
Yes. Okay. So, for instance, when did emotional support animals get to be allowed in, let's say, Walmart or a restaurant? And I'm not dissing anybody with a service pet, okay? But I'm talking about an emotional support pet, someone who may not have a disability per se, okay? But, you know, I don't want to walk into Walmart, and you guys know, because we're both local, or all three of us are local, that they actually had a alligator in Walmart that was an emotional support pet. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This is ridiculous. This is all for attention. Okay. Now, that was some of the things that we were going to pinpoint. When did this become a thing that rules weren't meant to be followed anymore? Just for an example like that.
Yeah.
But now, and how to answer that question for you is, when did it take a turn to me interviewing artists and rock singers, it was actually the very first episode. Um, because going back to that concept of service animals and emotional support animals, I interviewed Stacy Blades of LA Guns. And, he's big into pets. And we were actually going to have that conversation. And he knew that. And he was really cool with that. But at that time, when the interview came up, Ace Frehley had died. And we just shifted gears and we talked about Ace and what he meant to the music industry.
Mm.
And after the interview, Stacy was like, "Dude, you may want to consider just interviewing rock stars." And I was like, I would love to, but I'm kind of afraid. That is my dream, but I don't know if I got what it takes. And he's like, "Believe me," he was like, "the more you interview, the better you're going to get." And, then I started pigeonholing myself, only talking to Gen X rock stars of the 80s and early 90s. And I got to thinking, I'm getting some modern bands that want to be on my show, some bands that are out there today and making waves like Bad Marriage, Gunshine, The Fell. You name these bands and they wanted to be on my show. And I'm like, hell yeah. But I pigeonholed myself with the name. So I came up with the idea of the Youth Gone Mild because, it's a play off of Skid Row's Youth Gone Wild. But, I still have that youthful mind, that youthful sense of humor. But
And you're
being a
youthful.
dad, and I know all three of us can relate to that, we aren't as wild as we used to be. We're a little bit milder and, besides being a dad, I got to tone it down for the wife because let's just face it, we don't want to deal with our wives.
Right. Yeah, but so you may not have also heard the congratulatory moment either. But yeah, so Mike and I had it's like we saw this at the same time, and I was like looking on Facebook, and you had just announced about getting a sponsor, and then within minutes, Mike texted me. He's like, "Hey, did you see Joe got a sponsor?" And then we're just like, kind of like in awe, like so proud of you, and you should be proud of
Well, I
yourself. So
appreciate that.
huge congratulations to you for having a sponsor and everything already. Excuse me.
I appreciate that. They approached me. I didn't approach them. I again, being new to the podcasting field, but with all of us having experience in the radio market, I was like, I know I got to jump at this, but then again, I didn't want to be handcuffed again to one particular sponsor. But we made a gentleman's agreement. My sponsor, which is Celebrity Events by Lisa Gandia out of New York. She is a promoter, publisher. She does a lot of great things, not only in New York, but across the United States and other continents with booking tours for rock bands, getting their information out there, just like a good publicist should. And we have a great connection. And, we have also some new guests coming up that she represents. And I don't want to give that away right now either. But man, I will tell you the names that she represents, it's a who's who.
That's
So,
amazing.
and again, I thank you guys for the kind words.
Mike, is there anything you want to add before we start to wrap things up?
No, man, all I just want to do is just tell you congratulations on the sponsor as well. I was like, holy cow. I was like, he did it. I was like, he nailed it. I was like, that's fantastic. That's awesome. And I told Rich, I
Well,
was like, I'm slightly jealous.
And it's hard not to
well,
be.
guys, well, you know what? I was jealous of you guys, and straight up, when you guys started Lights, Camera, Pop, I was like, man, I want to be on their show, but I don't want to be an ass just because we're friends and say you got to have me as a guest or I want to be a guest, But
Yeah.
the timing was, I don't want to say right, unfortunately, for Ozzy passing away, but you guys just reached out to me, and
You were the
That's what
first
started
person.
it, and I am forever, forever grateful for you two.
I appreciate that. But yeah, you were the very first person. When I said when Ozzy had passed, I texted Mike. I says, "All right, so let's do an Ozzy tribute. We got to get Joe involved because I knew like especially like your rock background, being a cow and everything like that." And he's like, "Yeah." And then I said, "Well, we'll get Brian, our buddy Brian." And being that he's younger than all of us put together, of course, and it was nice to have a youthful kind of eyes, so to speak, and ears to the music and everything. So and Grim, you know, being in the music world, you know, it kind of like it all kind of fell together. That was a good episode. I really enjoyed that one. I feel like I was a little bummed out because I look back and now we've been using Zoom and I look back and we did it in an hour. And I think that show could have at least lasted another half hour, 45 minutes. And
Oh, agreed.
but yeah, it's like we need to George Lucas that shit and like go back and redo that whole episode and just add new stuff to it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but we can't have George Lucas though because he tends to screw up his own work. All right, sorry about that.
Oh
I had
no,
to say
hey,
it.
that's a
Yeah,
valid point.
yeah.
So.
He became too PG.
You know.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness. So yeah,
Well, guys, I want to thank you. I guess I'm guesting on your podcast, and you're guesting on my podcast, and we're cross guesting,
cross
if that's a
cross
word.
pollinating.
Cross pollinating. Yes, we'll go with that. I like that.
cross poll. I was waiting for this to go somewhere in a different direction. Thankfully, it didn't. So.
All right, guys. Well, hey, again, I'm going to thank you for having me again on your show.
Thank you for having us on yours.
I thank you. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you for the support too.
Oh yeah,
oh,
absolutely, man.
absolutely,
Uh, just
absolutely.
our friends are really the ones that matter, you know, the most. I mean, I the ones that support us are just rock stars, the MVPs of our show, and you know, big shout out to
Most
everybody.
valuable
They keep us
podcaster.
going.
The MVPs, the most valuable
Right?
podcasters.
Oh, damn, that's awesome right there. Uh, Joe, where can everybody find you at?
Actually, just set everything up new on social media. It is at Youth Gone Mild PC, and believe me, my podcast is not PC as in politically correct. It's at Youth Gone Mild PC on all social media platforms. If you want to listen to the podcast, I just was able to get onto Apple Podcasts, which is awesome. Even though I didn't have an Apple phone or an Apple account, I found a way to do it. I'm on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, TuneIn, and Deezer.
Nice.
And how about you guys?
Well, we are on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Podbean. You can hear us weekly, every week. We're there. Eventually, we're gonna cross over to YouTube. We talk about it all the time, and eventually, it's gonna happen to go onto a
Oh,
YouTube channel.
What we'd like
well,
to do
well,
is
let me
just do like put up our logo and then just put all the audios up on that, and then later on do like a video at some
let
point.
me just interject. I am also on YouTube and Amazon. But to get you guys out there on YouTube, let me just say this. I have the majority of my listeners on YouTube, and it's so easy to do. So easy to do. If you need help with that, shoot me a text.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I definitely
Yeah.
will be doing that
Yeah,
because
we're
like I know through
yeah, we wanna load all our stuff up and get a presence up there. We just haven't done it yet. We talk about it, but we just haven't done it yet. We're everywhere else. We should be there.
yeah, I agree.
Nice.
I agree. We definitely need to
Yeah.
do that. But yeah, you can find us too at Lights Camera Pop on uh, Instagram. Well, it's weird the way somebody had Lights Camera Pop already on Instagram. So you can find us at Lights Camera Pop Pod, but Lights Camera Pop on Facebook. And I just want to give a quick little plug too that my daughter and I just dropped the first episode of my second podcast that I started with her called The House of Mouse Musings. So that's on the same all platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, blah blah blah.
You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram as Nomad Comics. You can find me that. Looks for the skull with the cross swords. That's me on everything. And next Sunday, I may have to do the podcast to the phone. We'll figure that out later. Because I'll be in Akron, Ohio, doing the Akron show.
Oh.
So I'll figure that out.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You guys faded out.
So I'll figure that out.
Yeah. And I'm there at Richie Wayne, 76. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun, guys.
It's been fun.
You still there?
Yep.
Yes. It's been fun. You know, I feel like we are back in our college days.
Oh my
Shooting the breeze on 91.9 WVCS Power 92, not WCAL Power 92.
Yeah, I mean, like, we have more control over here. We can curse if we want.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I got suspended off of the radio, because it was 3 a.m. in the morning, and I didn't think anybody was listening, and I started playing at a medium pace from Adam's Handler. And Coach was listening.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so yeah.
I remember this.
I got pulled, but it's okay, I guess. And then, we could talk about those days forever.
Yeah,
we should do another crossover and talk about that one day.
We should. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I was gonna say. Well, we should probably end this because you might get ended if we don't end it.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't got any text messages yet, so. But just to kind of go on that same realm, what you were talking about getting suspended at the college radio station, and that happened to me too. All good DJs get suspended.
I had to suspend myself, guys. I was a program director, and I had to suspend myself once. I win.
You do. But I'll tell you, and I'll make this short and sweet. I got suspended. I'll never forget my first suspension. We had the mic that was hanging over our heads by the soundboard.
Mm-hmm.
I was introducing Collective Soul's Shine, and the mic literally just dropped and hit me in the balls, and I said, fuck. And I got suspended for that. And probably my proudest moment of suspension is when I invited the entire cheerleading class of 96, okay, to the radio station. And remember, we were only allowed 2 guests, not like 12. And you know what? That suspension, I won't go into detail, but that suspension, man, it was worth every week I was suspended.
I think my final, the one that really broke the straw and the camel's back was, and I don't even know if I should say his DJ name in case he's, maybe I will. You know what? So there was a DJ down there by the name of Scrappy. And I remember, and I was even gearing up to interview Insane Clown Posse. Like, I was in the motions of trying to get them onto the radio show. And Matt Dundee was helping me out, trying to like figure out like how to go through the avenues of getting them on a show. But anyway, neither here nor there. And I was like getting to that point, but at the same time, I decided to play a prank, and I erased Scrappy's his commercial or his promos that he would play during his show. and I re-edited it, and I put a song from the Kids in the Hall Brain Candy movie where the guy was walking around going, "I'm gay, I'm gay. Hey, did you hear the news? I'm gay." Oh dear God! And yeah, that was the one. That's probably the reason why I'm no longer there.
Well, I got suspended because I was literally carpet bombing Cal with F-bombs, like over the air. Because I just didn't care anymore, and I just wanted to see what would happen. And the graduate assistant came in. She's like, "Can you believe you just said the F word like 9 times?" I was like, 9. Try like 14. And
You must have not listened
she's
at
like,
that
"That's
point.
it." She's like, "That's it. You're suspended." I'm like, "I'm the program director. I'll suspend myself tomorrow. But until then, I'm going to finish my fucking show."
There was 15.
There's 15. You took your headset off to come listen, to come reprimand me, so you missed a couple.
Oh, it was
Oh,
that was
my
that
God,
was hysterical.
those were the days,
Yes,
guys.
they were.
Those were the days.
Well, guys,
but
on
yes,
that note,
we'll wrap it up.
let's wrap it up. And thanks everybody for tuning in this week of this crossover of Youth Gone Mild and Lights Camera Pop. And tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And have a good night,
Peace
everybody.
out.
All right, guys. See you later.
See you later.